Now, we are going to go over the basics of file and folder permissions. Basic file permissions allow or deny a user to read and write files. Directory permissions allow a user to list a directory's contents. They can create new directories or files within it, or we can even set permissions to deny a user to do any of these things to a directory. There are two different ways with which we work with file and folder permissions. The first is with the symbolic format, which is how we view files and folder permissions when we use the ls command. We can also modify file and folder permissions in the octal or numerical format. Linux permissions are broken down into three different categories. The first that we have is read, using the letter R. Next we have write, using the letter W, and then finally execute, which uses the letter X. All permissions are preceded by a special character. A dash just represents a regular file. If we see a D, that represents a directory. If we have a lowercase l, that means it is a symbolic link, which is basically a shortcut. Linux permissions are grouped in this particular order. First we have the owner on the far left, and then the middle set of permissions is for the group, and finally to the far right we have the world permissions, also known as other. If we look below at our example, where we did an ls-l to get a long listing of a directory, we can see our permissions here. Our dash, just like we said before, is a regular file. These three represent the owner permissions. Our next group of three is our group permissions. And then our final group of three is the other or the world permissions. Same thing with the directory, as represented by the D in the front. The owner permissions for that directory, the group permissions for that directory, and then finally the far right, the other or the world permissions for that directory. Each permission bit has an octal value associated with it. The read permission is equal to 4, the write permission is equal to 2, and the execute permission is equal to 1. No permission, represented by a dash, equals 0. So a file with this particular set of permissions is equal to 755. And the way we get that is we have read, write, and execute, which is 4, plus 2, plus 1, which equals 7, and then read, which is 4, and a dash, 0, and an execute, which is 1, so we have 4 plus 1 is 5, and again 4 plus 1 equals 5. 7, 5, 5. Each file is owned by a user and a group. The user ownership is listed first, then the group ownership is listed. In our example, we have a file, .text, that is owned by the user A. Vance. And a file, .text, is owned by the researchers group. Next, we are going to start working with basic permissions.